don't have to wait until you reach financial independence to start enjoying your life. You can do that much earlier and start living a life that you love and that's true to you. Welcome to Freedom Before FI. Using FIRE and life design techniques, we help you create freedom on your way to FI instead of waiting until you're retired to do the things that light you up. I'm your host Greg, a FIRE movement and life design enthusiast. If you're itching to get freedom now, then let's do this. Hi there, my friend. Whatever you're up to right now, I hope you're keeping well and having a good week. So in the last few episodes, I've been talking about semi-retirement and specifically using the Barista FI strategy to get there, and which you probably already know is like a stop-off point on your way to full FI. It's basically when you start drawing down a portion of your investment portfolio and supplementing the remaining with part-time and usually a less stressful job. But what kind of jobs are actually out there that you could do part-time? Today, I'll be giving you some part-time job ideas you can do in semi-retirement that doesn't involve being a barista. I'll be splitting them up in 3 different categories. The first one is remote work, the second one is working indoors, and then the third one is outdoor roles. Actually, since I may consider Barista FI in the future, this list has also given me some ideas that I could explore later on. Okay, so before we jump into those ideas, I actually wanted to share some part-time jobs I done myself when I was younger, and hopefully this could spark some ideas as well. Okay, so I've got 4 part-time roles here that I done back in the day. Okay, so the first one is working in a gym. So when I was around 15 or 16, my friend and I worked a few hours each week in a gym near our school. We used to do like 3 to 4 hours after school, once or twice a week, cleaning all the equipment. We didn't get paid or anything, but that was fine because they would let us use the gym at any time, and we also got workout tips from the personal trainers. Okay, so the second one is I worked at a pharmacy. When I was around 17, 18, I worked part-time at a pharmacy. It was something like 3 to 4 hours, 3 times a week. I used to go there after I finished my 6th form classes. I worked on the cashier and also helped tidy up. That was actually really chill, and I got to learn a bit about everyday medicine. Okay, so the third role I'd done before was working in fashion retail shops. So probably just like most students, I'd done my stint in retail. I worked part-time on weekends at the Gap, and also a shop called Top Man, which is kind of like H&M. So I was doing that part-time on weekends while I was still a student. To be honest, I never really enjoyed retail. I kind of find it super boring most of the time. But I did like my work colleagues and all the camaraderie that came along with it. And so I made some really good friends during that time. Okay, so the fourth thing I'd done, and it's my absolute favourite job while I was studying, was being a mobile DJ. Yep, I used to DJ old school hip-hop and R&B songs. I used the old vinyl records at the time, and I had my own speakers and all of my equipment. I used to DJ at birthday parties and events. I think I've probably done around 1 or 2 gigs a month, give or take. And of course, some months I didn't have any gigs. But I could have done more if I went all in on like advertising, marketing, but I was still a student at the time, and I saw it more as a hobby than a business. There was absolutely nothing better than playing a song and hearing the crowd react. The only downside really was carrying all the heavy equipment. That part was not fun at all. Anyway, those are some ideas to throw into the mix. Alright, let's kick off the list with some remote part-time job ideas. So I've got 6 here. Okay, so the first idea is being an online tutor for school students or an online language tutor for adults. You can also do this face-to-face. Back in episode 24, Steve, the frugal expat, talks about how he became an English teacher in Taiwan, and this helped him do geo arbitrage, and you could go back to that episode if you wanted to have a listen. The second remote idea is being a customer service rep for companies. The third idea is translating documents. If you're fluent in other languages, you can consider helping companies translate technical documents from one language to another. Another similar role here is being an interpreter. The fourth one is being an online coach. So, for example, being an executive coach or being a life coach. The fifth one is doing editing. Although competition is fierce, this is in high demand. You could do things like podcast editing, video editing, or social media reels. And then the sixth idea is being a virtual assistant. Okay, let's move to the second category, which is indoor jobs. So again, I've got 6 ideas here for you. So the first idea is being a beautician at a salon or being a barber. The second one is being a massage therapist or a masseuse. The third one is being a fitness instructor. So think personal trainer, yoga instructor, Zumba instructor, and the like. The fourth one is being a nanny or a childminder. So that's looking after kids from baby age up to early teens. The fifth idea is working in retail. So that's either working front of house, so for example, being a cashier or on the shop front, or being back at house, which is kind of like your deliveries and your stocks. The sixth idea is working in a non-profit. There's usually various roles in non-profit organizations, for example, community work, digital marketing, admin roles, project management, just to name a few. Okay, so let's head on over to the third category, which is part-time jobs that are outdoors. Okay, so the first idea is being a dog walker. If you love dogs, being a dog walker could be a great choice. Okay, so the second idea is being a driver. So this could be delivery driver or being someone like a Grab driver or Uber driver, as we say in the West. I think those kind of roles would be nice if you live in a city that doesn't have too much traffic. Now, I wouldn't mind going around driving people and listening to podcasts while I'm doing it. Okay, so the third one is working on a farm or working in a plant nursery. For those who like nature and doing hard labour, being a farmhand or working in a plant nursery might be good options. The fourth one is helping out a landscape gardener or helping out on a construction site as a labourer. The fifth one is working in tourism. If you love meeting different people and entertaining, something like a hostel receptionist or a tour guide would be a good option to consider. Okay, so the sixth idea to consider is working generally in events. So there's loads of different roles here. So you've got things like an events coordinator, a photographer, a videographer, hair and makeup, stage setup, all types of different roles. And for sure, you could find part-time roles here because their events are usually held on the weekends and evenings. Okay, so those are just some ideas under those 3 categories of remote, indoor, and outdoor roles. And I've actually got a 4th bonus category. So outside of those 3 roles, one thing you can try to do is to change up your current role. So for example, can you request to continue your current job but negotiate reduced hours or maybe changing the role slightly to something less stressful that allows for part-time work? Anyway, just something for you to think about. Okay, so before we wrap up, there are 2 watch outs I wanted to mention about working part-time. Okay, so the first one, a really important one, and it's around healthcare. So this really depends where you're living. If you live in a country that doesn't have a public healthcare system, so for example the US, then it might be worth finding a part-time role that provides this. Not all employers provide health benefits for part-timers, but there are still a good number of companies that do. So for example, UPS, government-related roles, Amazon, Staples, Safeway, American Red Cross, Trader Joe's, amongst others. So have a look around. You usually have to clock in a minimum of around 20 to 30 hours, and obviously depending on the company. The other related thing to watch out for is what actually is included in the healthcare policy. They may exclude certain things that are important for you, like hospital cover or maybe dental. Okay, so the second watch out is the grass actually greener? One of the main motivations for switching gears to a more simple job is the assumption that that job would be less stressful and easy. But that might not always be the case. So for example, I didn't really enjoy my retail jobs back then. Most of the time I was bored and just checking my watch every minute. Although that might be because I was young at the time. However, there are benefits to doing simple jobs. One huge one is being able to switch off as soon as you clock out. In most corporate jobs, you tend to think about work in the evening. Maybe you're checking your emails or your group chat apps for any emergencies or grenades being thrown. The other benefit to more simple jobs is the social connections. So I made some awesome friends because in retail, most people are just chill. There's no office politics or ladder climbing, so to speak. Unless you're really desperate to move from folding clothes to telling people to fold clothes. Now, I'm just kidding, of course. But yeah, anyway, those are some pointers to consider. All right, well, I hope that's helped you in your quest to find part-time job ideas in semi-retirement. If you want to hear more about alternative FI strategies, purpose, and happiness, you can click follow on your podcast app to be notified of future episodes. If you've learned just one thing on these episodes, please consider leaving a 5-star rating on your app. Have a great rest of the week, and as always, practice gratitude, live life by your design, and do things that make you smile. You got this.